Hello friends, this is lesson number 46 in the series of literary criticism and theories. Today in this lesson we shall discuss first the structuralism and then the pioneer of structuralism, that is Ferdinand de Saussure. So first we shall discuss what is structuralism. Structure we all understand. It is a pattern or a system that follows some rules. Now look around and everywhere we see a structure. If you look at the school, it is following a structure. In all the schools you will see a similar sort of structure. If you take a book in your hand and you will see it is following a structure. Now every book supposed to follow that sort of structure, like a proper beginning, proper end, counting or numbering on the pages, and then index. And now what is structuralism? Structuralism says that the things cannot be seen or should not be seen in isolation. They should be seen in the larger way or scenario to which they belong. For example, the structure of a school cannot be seen in isolation. The structure of the school should be seen with the structure of the other schools and also with the larger structure that could be the education system. Only then we can analyze the school in a best possible way. Even if we talk about the smaller units, to understand the structure of a classroom, we must understand the structure of a school. To understand the structure of a school, we must understand the structure of an education system. In similar way, we can take other examples from the society. Like for mobile phone. The mobile phone cannot be seen in isolation, standalone. To analyze the structure of a mobile phone, we must know the things related to the digital technology, because all the gadgets, computer, laptops, all these are belonging to the same structure. So the larger structure we have, that is the digital world of technology. Now, in literature as well, we go with the same statement that any text cannot be seen in isolation. The structure of the text should be analyzed with the larger structure, the structure of that particular genre to which the text belongs. There may be the range of intertextual connections as well to the different works of the other writers of the same genre. For example, to understand a poem, we must know the structure of the poem and also the structure related to the other attributes like rhythm, meter, and even the different genres of the poetry like elegy, blank verse, sonnet, epic poetry, narrative poetry. So that's sort of the range of the different structures that we have. They collectively belong to a larger structure of the poetry. The most important structuralist thinker we have, that is Ferdinand de Saussure, and he says that a word's meaning is based less on the object it refers to and more in its structure. That structure can be culturally or socially constructed. Again, I repeat, he is saying that the meaning of a word in language, meaning of a word is less on the object that it refers to. If the word is referring to a particular object, the meaning is not based on that object. Rather, the meaning is based on the structure to which it belongs, and that structure may be culturally or socially constructed. We shall soon realize this fact with the example. But first we have introduction of Ferdinand de Saussure. So he is the pioneer figure of the structuralism. He was born in the year 1857 and died 1913. And he is from Switzerland. So he is a Swiss scholar. He is a master of linguistics and also of the semiotics. Semiotics is the study of signs. So whenever there is a question related to semiotics, we have the prominent name, that is Ferdinand de Saussure. The important work by him, that is Course in General Linguistics. Course in General Linguistics. It is a collection of essays, it is a collection of lectures given by him at the Geneva University from the year 1906 to 1911, and these were published after his death. Remember, he died in the year 1913 and this work was published in the year 1916. And in this work, he talks about the evolution of any language, how a language evolves by the time, and also a relationship among the words, phrases, sentences, and structure of a language. So we have a language, a great language with the number of words, number of phrases and sentences. So all these different segments are contributing to that the larger structure of the language. Then we have his theory of sign. Sign, S-I-G-N, sign. He says that every sign has two parts. The first signifier and the second is signified. Sign means any word you say. For example, we take any object like tree. So now in tree, the word that I am speaking, tree, whether orally I am saying or it is written on the paper, T-R-E-E, that is signifier. It may be the sound, it may be the letters, it may be any signal. If you are making any gesture to the people by with your arms and hands, that you are drawing the shape of a tree, that is signifier. And what is signified? Signified is the actual concept of the tree that comes in our mind, the image of the tree that comes in our mind. With this, you can make an experiment with your friends or in your circle, that you ask them to imagine a tree. So you would see that with the word tree, everyone will think of a different kind of tree, maybe of a different type, maybe of a different size or shape, and the image of the tree the people think will be different. Person to person there will be a difference, though the signifier is the same, but the signified, the image that comes in their mind, that will be different. We can take similar sort of example with the other objects, like with the dog, with the any other animal, or even with the different color. If you ask the people to imagine the color blue, so they would be thinking of the different variations of the color blue. Though we have the signifier the same, but there is a difference in the signified, because Ferdinand de Saussure says that the signified is culturally developed in our mind. It is culturally constructed in our mind. By this, he brings one conclusion, that the relationship between the signifier and the signified is arbitrary. It is not fixed, it is not natural, but it is changing and it is inseparable. Means both these signifier and signified, both these terms are inseparable from each other. Like a paper. You have a paper and the paper has two sides. On one side you can imagine the signifier and other side you can imagine as signified. So both these sides are inseparable in paper. So same way, signified and signifier both are inseparable, cannot be separated. Further, he says that the culturally constructed meanings can be wrong at some times. For example, a child may conceive the image of tiger, leopard, cheetah from the word lion. So he is taking all of them as lion. That is how he is taught. Even we people were taught in the school that tiger means cheetah. That was wrong, but that was culturally constructed. One more example you can take, that these days we use this term, paise. So paise means money. Otherwise, the literal meaning of the word paise means the actual paise, that is the 100th part of the rupee, that is paise. But these days we have this term paise. Paise means money. So that is culturally constructed. So the term paise, that is the signifier, and by the paise we have the concept of money, lot of money in our mind, that is the signified. And both these terms are inseparable. One more thing he adds, that a signifier may have different signifieds according to the context. Means we take a different meaning from the same word in different sentences. Like we have word blue. Blue means sometimes a color, a sky. the sky, even sadness. So we have different meanings for the word blue. The signifier is the same, but the signified are different in the different context. And then he adds that no word can be defined keeping it separate from the related words. The words related. Which are those words? These can be the synonyms, these can be the antonyms. These synonyms and antonyms have that strong relationship that with that word that sometimes they affect the meaning of the word as well. For example, with the word pretty, we have a phrase pretty face, ugly face. So now we get the meaning of this word pretty as beautiful. But in other context, if we use this word as she was pretty late, so here means something like she was very late. So that's how the meaning of the word changes. Now we have another concept given by him, that is of langue and parole. Langue and parole, both these words are from the French language, and langue means the rules of the language, the grammar and the spelling system, the syntax, and parole means the usage of that langue by individual. We can understand this concept by the game. We have the game like cricket. There are certain rules for everyone and everyone is following the same rules, and by learning those rules one player is performing so well and other players are not performing that well. So the efficiency or the performance of these players is called as the parole, and the rules of the game which all they have learned, that is langue. The same example can be taken in different games as well, like chess. In chess, both the players are following the same set of rules, but one is performing exquisitely well and other is not performing that well. So the performance with those rules, that is the individual's usage, how he is using. So that is parole. So we have the same language. The two persons, they have learned their mother tongue in the same scenario. But by the time one is able to speak that language, use that language in written or in oral form in everywhere so well, and other is not able to do so, though both learnt the rules equally, but one is able to perform well and other is not. So learning the rules or the set of the rules is called as the langue, and the performance of the individual is called parole. So the langue is the same for all, but the performance by the individual, that will vary from person to person. So that's all we have about Ferdinand de Saussure and also about structuralism. So first we discussed the basic idea of structuralism in literature, and then we discussed the theories of sign and the concept of signifier and signified given by Ferdinand de Saussure, and then the concept of langue and parole. So we have several questions from Ferdinand de Saussure and also from structuralism in the past few years, so we shall discuss them one by one. The first question, meaning is generated through. The meaning is generated through, and there was one option on the opposite side, that was a system of structure differences in language. The meaning is generated through, from where? A system of structure differences in language. Now try to think, can you relate this question to the things that we have gone through in this lesson? Just try. One where I told you that the meaning of word depends not just on the object it refers to, but largely to the structure to which it belongs. And in that structure we have the opposite words, similar words, and by the comparison with those words we get the meaning of that particular word. So the meaning of a word generated through a system of structure differences. Structure differences means the differences that we get with the comparison with other words, maybe opposite ones, maybe synonyms in the language. The next question we have, the theory of langue and parole is given by, so pretty simple answer, Ferdinand de Saussure. The next question. There is an essay written by Ferdinand de Saussure, and that is Words Upon Words. Words upon words, and in that he gave a statement. And what is that statement? That is before you as well on the screen. So I simply read that out. Actual birth of a new language has never been reported in the world because we have never known of language which was not spoken the day before or which was not spoken in the same way the day before. And the question was, what is the meaning of this statement? So from the given options, the right answer is that the language do not get born, they evolve out of the previously existing linguistic situation. So no language born yesterday or any particular day. The languages are evolving day by day. The next question we have, that is Julia Kristeva. Julia Kristeva, she gave the concept of intertextuality. The concept of intertextuality, and that is driven from, the answer is the theory of sign given by Ferdinand de Saussure. For the moment, you just remember that Julia Kristeva, she is a postmodernist writer, and she gave the theory of intertextuality, where the text is referring to the other text. And she is also the practitioner of semiotics, the thinker who studies the signs, the theory of signs and symbols. The next question, semiotics. The general science of signs traces its lineage to, and the answer is there are two people who worked on this concept, semiotics. The first, Ferdinand de Saussure, and second is the Charles Sanders Peirce. We shall discuss about him in the next lesson, Charles Sanders Peirce. So with the semiotics means the study of signs and symbols. So in this lesson we found that Ferdinand de Saussure was telling us about sign and the concept of signifier and signified. The same way we have some theories given by Charles Sanders Peirce about sign, symbol and index. So we shall pretty soon learn that as well. The next question, Langue and Parole. A language consists in relationship between Langue and Parole. Saussure made this distinguish in course in general linguistics. Langue is the system of, what is the answer? So Langue is the system of grammar or the rules, and Parole is the language occasion. So here language occasion means the performance by a person at a particular occasion, that is language occasion. So that is the answer for this. Langue means the system of grammar and rules, and Parole is the language occasion, means performance by individual. So that's all we have about structuralism and also about Ferdinand de Saussure. One thing you should remember, that the timeline of Ferdinand de Saussure is about from 1857 to 1913, means just the first decade of the 20th century. But the actual practitioner of the structuralism, the people who were in the 1950s, 60s and 70s after the Second World War, because up to the 1939 or 40 we have the formalism, the practitioner of formalism, and from there, almost from that period, we have the practice or the practitioner of the structuralism. Though the basic idea of the structuralism we get from the theories of Ferdinand de Saussure in the early first or second decade of the 20th century. So that's all we have from this lesson. As a quick summary, you can remember that the theory of sign, Langue and Parole and all these things belong to Ferdinand de Saussure, and also the important work, that is Course in General Linguistics. So that's all we have for this lesson. So pretty soon we shall meet in the next lesson with another writer, Charles Sanders Peirce. Thanks a lot for watching this lesson. Have a great day.